Hi, everybody. Today we are going to be learning how to draw a cartoon version of Iron Man. So, to start with Iron Man, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a circle in the middle of our paper. Now, this circle, we do not worry about getting it perfectly. Oops, a little too big. Do not worry about getting it perfectly even or symmetrical. Eventually, we are going to be changing this shape. So, again, don't worry about getting it nice and perfect. In fact, you almost want it to be kind of squared shaped. All right. Next, I'm going to start with two lines to make a plus sign kind of in the middle of his face. But these lines are not going to be right in the middle. First one, I'm going to curve to the left. The next one, I'm going to curve down a little bit. All right. Next, let's start with his body. So to do that, we're going to have a shape start up here and it's going to end over here. But when we come down, we want it to come out just a little bit. So it's going to be wider at the bottom than it is at the top. Just a little bit. All right. Now let's think about his arms. So we're going to have one arm coming out this way. We're going to have one arm right here next to his body. So for that arm, we're going to make a little kind of oval shape. We want it to come down close towards the bottom of his body. We'll wrap it into his body there, and let's make a little oval here to show where we're eventually going to draw his hand. Next, I like to start with a little circle right here, right on that line for his body. Now, the bottom of this circle is going to curve out just like that, and we're going to do the same thing towards the top. We can curve that off, and you know what? I think I want to change that curve just a little bit. Came a little too far out. Yeah, that's a little better. Let's curve that around, just like that. And then, again, let's draw a little circle, just mark where we're eventually going to make that other hand. All right, now for his legs. We're going to start kind of right in the middle of them, and we're going to come up a little bit. We're going to come up and over. Once we get to this side of his body, we can bring it down, and I'm going to come in just a little bit. This one is going to curve just a tiny bit inwards, and then I'll close it off for where his ankle would be. Next, let's make kind of a foot shape for him. So what we're going to do is we're going to start kind of in the middle. We're going to come over, out of his foot, and we're going to bring it around just like that. For his other leg, let's start again kind of towards the middle. We're going to come up towards his hand, and then this shape is going to come in again, like the other leg, it's going to come in just a little bit. Round off the ankle, and again we're going to make just a little kind of a lemon shape coming out the bottom. All right, next let's start to think about, so this is going to be our basic Iron Man shape. Now let's start to put some of that armor onto him. So first, I like to start over here on this arm. So we're going to make kind of a shoulder guard for him. So I'm going to come down, almost like I'm going to wrap around this circle, but I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to come over. I'm going to bring this line up, and I'm going to make an R shape to round that back into kind of where his helmet is. Next, he's going to have a little elbow guard right here. So we're going to come down, we're going to come up at an angle, and then straight. And then let's give him a little arm band to connect it. Just like that. 2 little lines going across. And then if you want, we can even clean this up just a little bit, make it a little neater, a little bit easier to look at. There. Perfect. All right, now we're going to do this, put the same shoulder guard on this side, but again, because the way his body's turning, we're not going to see too much. So really, we're going to come out a little bit, and then we're just going to kind of curve it in. Just like that. Real simple, kind of curvy L shape. All right, now let's come down on his body just a little bit. And when we get to about this point, so kind of the middle, we're going to make a teeny tiny little V. It's going to come down a little bit, but it's going to come up quite a bit. We're going to bring it over. We're going to make that V, but we're going to stretch it out a little bit more now. So the way his body's turning, we only see, it's kind of going off to the side just a little bit. We can curve this into his leg. I like to do the same thing on the other side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a little line going across the top of his legs. Now this next part, we're going to make a kind of a trapezoid shape. So we're going to come back up to where we have these angle lines. And right in the middle, we're going to make a shape that comes down, kind of towards the middle of them. And we're going to go past that line we just made, just a little bit, and close it off. This is kind of where like the armor on his abs or stomach would be. Next, we're going to make this little shape, this kind of diagonal stretched out end shape, twice on this trapezoid. So I'm going to come up, I'm going to come over, and back down. Again, up, I come over, and back down. Just like that. And let's just clean up some of these other parts for our legs. All right, now let's think about the armor on his legs. Now, right kind of towards the middle of his leg, we need to give him a shin. So I'm going to draw a little line on this side, and notice it's going to curve up, and this one's going to curve up as well. I'm going to make a little line that curves to connect them. Now, this part can be a little tricky because I'm not going to use this line. I'm going to come up a little bit on the sides. And then let's make another one, again, coming up a little bit, but this one's going to be at more of an angle. Now I want to come just outside of that leg to make kind of like the foot around his boot, kind of a boot armor. Let's bring this down to the front. Let's bring this up a little bit, straighten this out, line down, and then let's connect a bottom line for that foot. All right, now we're going to do similar thing on the other leg. So this knee is going to be kind of in the same area, but it's going to be right on the side. So this one, again, we're going to come up a little bit, come down, and back in. And then the side of his leg will be kind of where the side of that rectangle ends. Next, let's come up just a little bit, out of our knee, and then we're going to come down. And on this side, we're actually going to bring it down as well. And then we're going to kind of, let's make these kind of some straighter lines for the boots. So I'm just kind of making them less of a circle shape, more angled, straighter lines. Just like that. Then let's just darken this line up just a little bit. There. All right, next, I like to do that little thing Iron Man has in the middle of his chest. Some people call it a heart or the energy thing that keeps him alive. I'm going to start with a circle, and then I'm going to draw another circle inside of it Now the tricky part here is to get this circle as close to the first circle as you can without touching it. So it should look like almost like a bubble letter O, but really thin. All right, now on this arm, let's finish this left arm up. We're not going to see this elbow patch, but we are going to see this band coming across. So let's just put 2 little lines right there to even it up. Now for his arm, or for his hand. We're not seeing a lot of armor detail on this side of his body, so we're not going to worry too much about it. Let's give him a little curvy rectangle here for a thumb. Notice the thumb is shaping in towards his leg. And I'm not connecting this part. Instead, I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to make a C shape around it. I'm going to put a little line coming out of the side here to show kind of where the pointer finger would be curling around. And that's about all we're going to see of that hand. Now back to this one. This one can be a little bit tricky. What we're going to do is this side, we're going to come in towards his body. Then we're going to make kind of an upside down backwards letter L. So we're going to come away from the body and then straight down. Now what we want to do is kind of curve this shape around back into where his hand would be. Now this is going to be his thumb. So let's come out and make kind of an angled line back into that shape to show where his thumb would be kind of making a fist. All right, we're almost there. First, we want to turn this circular shape into more of a helmet. So the first thing we're going to do is right here, going shoulder to shoulders, we're going to make this line kind of straight. Now, right here, where it starts to touch this shoulder armor, we're going to come up at an angle. And we're going to continue that angle. We're going to come up straight. And this part will start to wrap around because this is going to be the front of his mask. So this part can be a little bit rounded. Now on this side, the left side of him, right, again, kind of where that shoulder is, and that straight line ends, we're going to come up at a bit of an angle. Then again, we're going to curve it around. This part of his head can be kind of curved, rounded. All right. Now, not on this line, but up a little bit closer to his forehead. We're going to make another line, or we're going to start kind of the armor on his mask. So we're going to come up, not straight across, but we're going to come up a little bit at an angle. I'm going to come down at an angle. I'm going to go across. I'm going to come back up and back over. But I'm not going to go to the side of his head. I'm going to stop a little bit before it, and then I'm going to come down, again at an angle, but I'm not going to touch the side of his head. Once it gets a little bit past this middle line, we're going to bring it in. We're going to make a straight line here. We're going to come up at an angle, almost the same place where it is on the top, and then we're going to stretch this line across all the way. And when it gets, again, about where that top one ends, we're going to just bring it down, and that'll be it. Next, we need to do his eyes. We're going to put them right on this line that we made in the beginning. So we're going to start with some rectangles. And the first one is going to come off the side of his mask. The second is going to be inwards a little bit. Notice this one ends right about where that angle starts. So we'll start our other one kind of in the same place on the other side. And that is our basic Iron Man. Now let's start tracing and coloring. Oops, you know what I forgot to do? We need to give him a little earpiece on the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a thin oval. At the top of that oval, I'm going to make a little line coming down. At the top, or the bottom, I'm gonna make a little line going up. I'm just gonna make a curved line to connect them. And that'll give us a little side piece for his head. I hope you guys all had fun today. That is our Iron Man. If you want to pause it here to match the same colors at home, you can, but you do not have to. I hope you guys had fun today. Stay safe, keep drawing, and I'll see you next time.